The topic we'll cover is Agile Governance and Compliance, how Agile teams operate within organizational controls and regulatory frameworks while still delivering iteratively and maintaining agility. On the PMP exam, you'll likely see questions that challenge your understanding of how Agile teams align with governance expectations, especially in hybrid or scaled environments where oversight and compliance cannot be ignored. Agile doesn't avoid governance, it integrates it into the way teams work. Tools like the product backlog, the definition of done, and even automated testing provide traceability, transparency, and audit readiness without slowing teams down with heavy processes. You should be familiar with how Agile governance differs from traditional predictive governance. In predictive projects, governance often relies on formal sign-offs, gated reviews, and documentation-heavy controls. In Agile, governance is achieved through incremental delivery, continuous feedback loops, and lightweight documentation tied to working solutions. The exam may also test how Agile ensures compliance through acceptance criteria, definition of done standards, and practices like continuous integration and automated testing. These support both quality assurance and regulatory requirements. In hybrid projects, Agile teams may still need to participate in gated reviews, formal checkpoints for progress, compliance, or financial approval. The Agile approach is to prepare by ensuring increments are demonstrable, well-documented, and aligned to strategic goals, even when delivered in short cycles. At scale, Agile teams also align with corporate governance frameworks. This means balancing organizational oversight with team autonomy, making progress visible across multiple teams, and ensuring delivery stays in sync with broader strategy and compliance needs. For the PMP exam, remember this: Agile governance is not about control for control's sake. It's about ensuring quality, compliance, and alignment while still preserving adaptability and value delivery. Now we'll go through 10 practice questions that will test your knowledge of Agile governance, regulatory alignment, quality assurance, and how Agile fits into larger oversight structures. Let's jump into the first question in this topic. Question 141. A project sponsor is used to predictive governance and asks for detailed sign-offs and documentation at every phase. The Agile team is concerned this will slow down delivery and reduce focus on working software. How should the project manager address governance in this Agile context? A. Require the Agile team to provide phase-based sign-offs but streamline documentation by using Agile artifacts such as backlogs and sprint reviews. B. Explain that Agile governance is achieved through incremental delivery, backlog transparency, and definition of done standards, rather than heavy sign-offs. C. Collaborate with the PMO to design a hybrid governance model that includes some formal checkpoints alongside Agile reporting practices. D. Suggest shifting this project to predictive governance to align with the sponsor's expectations and reduce conflict. You can pause the video here if you need more time to work on the question. The correct answer is C. This question tests your understanding of governance in Agile versus predictive environments. Sponsors and PMOs often expect predictive-style governance, but Agile teams emphasize lightweight controls and transparency. The project manager's role is to bridge these expectations. Choice C is the best option because it shows collaboration with governance stakeholders and adapts governance to fit a hybrid setting. By blending formal checkpoints with Agile reporting practices, the project manager meets oversight needs without undermining team agility. Choice A is incorrect. While it uses Agile artifacts requiring face-based sign-offs, still mirrors predictive governance and risks slowing the team with unnecessary formalities. Choice B is incorrect. Explaining Agile governance concepts is useful for education, but it doesn't address the sponsor's need for assurance through formal structures. Choice D is incorrect. Switching the project to predictive may appease the sponsor, but sacrifices the benefits of Agile delivery and adaptability. Let's move on to the next question if you're ready. Question 142. During an internal audit, a stakeholder asks how the Agile team ensures traceability between requirements, acceptance criteria, and delivered product increments. The sponsor is concerned that without predictive documentation, compliance gaps may appear. What should the project manager emphasize to demonstrate Agile traceability? A. Agile traceability is maintained through sprint retrospectives, which capture lessons learned and process adjustments. B. The team's daily stand-ups provide visibility into task progress and serve as the primary audit trail for requirements fulfillment. C. Release burn-up charts and velocity metrics demonstrate how requirements are progressively completed and validated. D. The product backlog supported by acceptance criteria and the definition of done links requirements to completed increments. You can pause the video here if you need more time to work on the question. The correct answer is D. This question tests your understanding of agile traceability. While predictive methods rely on documentation-heavy traceability matrices, Agile achieves the same goal through lightweight but effective mechanisms. Choice D is the best option because the product backlog, combined with acceptance criteria and the definition of done, ensures that every increment delivered ties back to requirements. This satisfies audit needs without slowing down delivery with unnecessary documentation. Choice A is incorrect. Retrospectives are about team improvement and learning, not formal requirement traceability. Choice B is incorrect. Daily stand-ups give transparency into progress but do not provide a formal linkage between requirements and deliverables. Choice C is incorrect. Burn-up charts and velocity metrics track progress trends, but they don't demonstrate requirement-level traceability for compliance purposes. Let's move on to the next question if you're ready. Question 143. An Agile team is preparing for an external audit. The auditor asks how the team demonstrates compliance without producing the traditional phase-based documentation usually required in predictive projects. What should the project manager present? A. A requirements traceability matrix and signed-off design documents from each iteration to show linkage and approvals. B. Backlog items with acceptance criteria, sprint review records, and evidence from the definition of done to demonstrate compliance. C. Burn-down charts, daily stand-up notes, and velocity reports to provide visibility into team progress. D. Retrospective notes and process improvement logs to highlight continuous improvement and quality practices. You can pause the video here if you need more time to work on the question. The correct answer is B. This question tests your understanding of meeting audit requirements in Agile. While predictive projects rely on sign-offs and documentation-heavy controls, Agile provides compliance evidence through transparency, working software, and artifacts that link requirements to outcomes. Choice B is the best option because backlog items with acceptance criteria, sprint reviews, and definition of done evidence show that requirements were validated and delivered to agreed standards. These lightweight artifacts are audit-ready without slowing down the team. Choice A is incorrect. A traceability matrix and signed-off design documents reflect predictive practices. They may satisfy auditors but don't align with Agile's way of working. Choice C is incorrect. Burn-down charts and daily stand-up notes provide progress visibility but don't demonstrate compliance or fulfillment of requirements. Choice D is incorrect. Retrospectives help the team improve but don't serve as formal proof of requirement to deliverable compliance. Let's move on to the next question if you're ready. Question 144. A financial services project must comply with strict regulatory requirements for security and data handling. The Agile team wants to avoid slowing down delivery with heavy manual reviews. Which approach best ensures compliance while supporting Agile delivery? A. Incorporate a manual compliance check into each sprint review so stakeholders inspect deliverables for regulatory issues before acceptance. B. Schedule recurring compliance checkpoints with auditors to review completed work before moving forward. C. Integrate automated testing and continuous integration pipelines that validate regulatory requirements throughout development. D. Strengthen the team's definition of done to require detailed documentation for each feature as evidence of compliance. You can pause the video here if you need more time to work on the question. The correct answer is C. This question tests your understanding of regulatory compliance through automation in Agile projects. Manual reviews and heavy documentation slow delivery, while automation supports continuous compliance and fast feedback. Choice C is the best option because integrating automated tests into continuous integration pipelines ensures compliance is validated at every step of development. This reduces errors, supports faster delivery, and satisfies regulatory requirements without adding heavy overhead. Choice A is incorrect. Adding compliance checks to sprint reviews provides visibility but is manual, inconsistent, and risks delaying feedback until late in the process. Choice B is incorrect. Regular checkpoints with auditors might reassure stakeholders, but they interrupt delivery flow and don't embed compliance directly into the work. Choice D is incorrect. Strengthening the definition of done to include documentation looks Agile-friendly, but paperwork alone doesn't guarantee compliance or prevent issues during development. Let's move on to the next question if you're ready. Question 145. An Agile team is delivering a product in a regulated industry. The compliance officer reminds the project manager that documentation must be available for audit readiness. The team is worried that extensive paperwork will reduce their ability to focus on delivering value. What should the project manager recommend to balance compliance and agility? A. Create documentation templates for each sprint and have the team fill them in alongside Agile artifacts to satisfy compliance needs. B. Rely on Agile artifacts such as backlog items, acceptance criteria, and the definition of done as lightweight documentation that demonstrates compliance. C. Capture compliance evidence during sprint reviews and link it to backlog items to reduce the need for additional paperwork. D. Produce essential compliance records as part of the release process using Agile outputs to keep the effort focused and minimal. You can pause the video here if you need more time to work on the question. The correct answer is B. This question tests your understanding of lightweight documentation for compliance. Agile teams should avoid being burdened by heavy paperwork, but still must meet regulatory needs through transparent, auditable practices. Choice B is the best option because Agile artifacts like backlog items, acceptance criteria, and the definition of done provide built-in documentation that shows compliance without slowing delivery. Choice A is incorrect. Templates may provide structure but add unnecessary overhead, reducing agility and slowing the team's focus on value delivery. Choice C is incorrect. Sprint reviews provide evidence of delivered work, but relying only on reviews leaves gaps in traceability that auditors may require. Choice D is incorrect. Producing compliance records only at release reduces ongoing transparency and risks discovering issues too late in the process. Let's move on to the next question if you're ready. Question 146. A hybrid project requires gated reviews to satisfy organizational governance. The Agile teams worry these reviews will slow delivery and add bureaucracy. How should the project manager handle gated reviews in this hybrid environment? A. Integrate gated reviews into existing Agile events, such as sprint reviews or release reviews, so governance needs are met without adding extra ceremonies. B. Integrate gated reviews into Agile events but require additional sign-off documents for each gate to provide assurance to auditors. C. Integrate gated reviews by scheduling them as separate checkpoints outside Agile events to avoid disrupting the team's normal cadence. D. Integrate gated reviews by holding special governance-focused sessions at the end of each sprint to ensure compliance is addressed thoroughly. You can pause the video here if you need more time to work on the question. The correct answer is A. This question tests your understanding of managing gated reviews in hybrid projects. Governance requirements must be met, but Agile teams work best when ceremonies are not duplicated or overly burdensome. Choice A is the best option because integrating gated reviews into Agile events, like sprint or release reviews, allows governance to be satisfied while minimizing disruption to the team's cadence. Choice B is incorrect. Adding extra sign-off documents makes the process more bureaucratic, slowing down delivery without adding real value. Choice C is incorrect. Scheduling gates as separate checkpoints creates delays and adds unnecessary overhead instead of aligning with Agile practices. Choice D is incorrect. Special governance sessions after every sprint may seem thorough, but they duplicate effort and add more ceremonies than needed. Let's move on to the next question if you're ready. Question 147. An Agile team is developing a product in a fast-paced environment. Leadership is concerned that without formal quality gates, defects may slip through and affect customer satisfaction. How should the project manager ensure quality assurance in Agile delivery? A. Establish a separate QA phase at the end of each release to thoroughly validate the product before deployment. B. Incorporate testing and quality checks into the definition of done, ensuring each increment meets agreed standards before acceptance. C. Rely on sprint reviews with stakeholders to identify quality gaps and capture corrective actions for future sprints. D. Validate completed work against acceptance criteria after each sprint to confirm product quality. You can pause the video here if you need more time to work on the question. The correct answer is B. This question tests your understanding of quality assurance in Agile projects. Unlike predictive approaches, Agile ensures quality is built in from the start rather than added as a separate phase or checkpoint. Choice B is the best option because embedding testing and quality checks into the definition of done guarantees that every increment meets agreed standards before it is considered complete. This ensures quality is continuous and not deferred. Choice A is incorrect. A separate QA phase reflects a predictive model and delays defect detection until late in the release cycle. Choice C is incorrect. Sprint reviews provide stakeholder feedback, but they are not intended as a formal quality check and may miss critical defects. Choice D is incorrect. Validating work against acceptance criteria after the sprint helps identify issues, but still treats quality as a separate step, not as an integrated part of delivery. Let's move on to the next question if you're ready. Question 148. An organization's corporate governance framework requires periodic reporting, risk reviews, and compliance checks. Agile teams in a new program worry these requirements will slow delivery and conflict with Agile practices. How should the project manager align Agile practices with corporate governance? A. Integrate governance by adding extra sign-off steps within sprint reviews to ensure formal approvals are documented. B. Integrate governance by requiring the team to create separate governance artifacts in addition to their normal Agile outputs. C. Integrate governance requirements into Agile practices, for example, capturing risks during backlog refinement and providing reporting through existing reviews. D. Integrate governance by scheduling dedicated governance checkpoints at the end of each sprint to address compliance items. You can pause the video here if you need more time to work on the question. The correct answer is C. This question tests your understanding of aligning Agile practices with corporate governance. Agile teams must still meet governance requirements, but the key is doing so without duplicating effort or slowing delivery. Choice C is the best option because embedding governance into existing Agile practices, such as using backlog refinement for risk reviews and sprint reviews for reporting, satisfies compliance while preserving agility. Choice A is incorrect. Adding sign-offs into sprint reviews introduces bureaucracy that undermines the lightweight nature of Agile ceremonies. Choice B is incorrect. Creating separate governance artifacts increases overhead and duplicates information that already exists in Agile outputs. Choice D is incorrect. Dedicated governance checkpoints may seem useful but add extra ceremonies, slowing the team's cadence. Let's move on to the next question if you're ready. Question 149. An organization values flexibility in delivery but also requires strong oversight to ensure risks and compliance are managed. The project manager is asked how to balance agility with the organization's need for control. What is the most effective approach? A. Allow Agile teams to self-organize while embedding governance reviews into existing Agile ceremonies to meet oversight needs. B. Require backlog changes to be reviewed and approved by the PMO before the start of each sprint. C. Maintain predictive-style documentation for all features so auditors and stakeholders have complete traceability. D. Rely on working software for progress but provide minimum governance updates to satisfy control requirements. You can pause the video here if you need more time to work on the question. The correct answer is A. This question tests your understanding of balancing agility with organizational control. Agile emphasizes flexibility, but organizations still expect oversight for compliance and risk management. Choice A is the best option because it keeps Agile teams empowered to self-organize while ensuring governance reviews are incorporated into existing Agile ceremonies. This satisfies oversight without adding bureaucracy or slowing delivery. Choice B is incorrect. Having the PMO approve backlog changes ensures control, but undermines agility by limiting responsiveness to change. Choice C is incorrect. Predictive style documentation may reassure auditors, but burdens the team with heavy paperwork that slows down value delivery. Choice D is incorrect. Relying only on working software while minimizing governance updates underdelivers on oversight, leaving risks and compliance gaps unaddressed. Let's move on to the last question, if you're ready. Question 150. A large organization is running multiple Agile release trains across business units. Executives want assurance that governance standards, risk management, and compliance requirements are being met without undermining the team's ability to deliver value. What should the project manager recommend? A. Apply the same governance approach used in small Agile teams to all release trains to keep practices consistent. B. Establish centralized governance reviews outside Agile ceremonies so executive reporting needs are addressed directly. C. Use scaled Agile practices that integrate governance into portfolio and program-level events, aligning oversight with delivery flow. D. Apply scaled Agile practices and add an extra governance checkpoint after each release train increment to confirm compliance. You can pause the video here if you need more time to work on the question. The correct answer is C. This question tests your understanding of governance in scaled Agile environments. Large-scale Agile delivery requires both strong oversight and flexibility to deliver value across multiple teams and release trains. Choice C is the best option because scaled Agile practices such as safe portfolio and program-level events integrate governance into the natural flow of delivery. This ensures risk management and compliance are addressed without slowing teams down. Choice A is incorrect. Applying small team governance across release trains oversimplifies the problem and fails to address portfolio-level risks. Choice B is incorrect. Centralized reviews outside Agile events create duplication, delay, and reduce alignment with delivery flow. Choice D is incorrect. Adding extra governance checkpoints may seem thorough, but it introduces unnecessary delays and undermines Agile value delivery. Congratulations! You've just completed all 10 questions on Agile Governance and Compliance, bringing you to the end of the 150 Agile Questions series. That's a huge milestone. Well done! You're building incredible exam readiness with every question. If you found this series helpful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more PMP prep content. Finally, best of luck with your PMP exam. You got this!